Hi there, and welcome to this masterclass, Authentic Leadership and What It Really Is. First of all, congratulate yourself on being here, on leading yourself here. What if you could be an exceptional, authentic leader for yourself and for others every day without the stress that tends to come with it? Great, wouldn't it? And what if you didn't have to change that much? You wouldn't be dropping any balls. You just really start to become aware of a few things and then apply them. And that's exactly what this masterclass is about, creating awareness so that being a great leader becomes easier and fun. What I'd like you to do is to really allow this masterclass to transform you rather than just inform you. Whilst you're here, make the most of it. Give yourself permission to listen to all of it, to consider the information I'm going to share with you, and then to use the exercises to make the difference for you and to implement the top tips. I'll be giving you some top tips throughout the session and then some more right at the end. I'm super excited that you're here. Thank you for joining. And I promise you it will be the best 30 to 40 minutes or so that you've invested in a long, long time. We're talking about authentic leadership. So what does that mean? Well, the Oxford Dictionary describes authentic as something that is genuine, real, and not a copy. So you could say that for us to be authentic, then we have to be genuine, real, and not a copy of someone else. We have to be ourselves. And to be yourself, you've got to know and understand yourself. So here's a reminder that you are unique. There has never been anybody like you, and there never will be ever again. And you are the best at being you. You're no good at being someone else, and no one else is as good as you are at being you. Now, of course, we can look at somebody else and appreciate some of their personality traits, some of their characteristics, and we may want to emulate some of those, but we have to do that in our own way. I have an exercise for you to do later on to explore some of that further. Now, the Oxford Dictionary then describes leadership as the action of leading a group of people or an organization. And to lead others effectively, we need to know and understand them too. So you could say that to be an authentic leader means that you've got to be true to yourself and to your team, to the people that you're leading. To cultivate a high-performing team, the leader really must understand their people and what they need to be able to thrive, because you're only as good as the weakest link in your team, right? Now, a great leader knows where they're going. They have a clear vision and they get people to happily follow them on the journey to achieve that vision. Now, I always recommend to my clients that you have no more than 4, really a maximum of 6 direct reports, and that you spend at least 15 minutes each week with each of your team members to share wins, to identify gaps, and to resolve any issues there are. And then get your leader to do the same for you as well. People are motivated by different things. Some may be motivated by money, and some may be motivated by acknowledgement or appreciation. So to draw the best from your people, you have to know what makes them tick. But leadership is not just about leading others. Leadership also, and really first and foremost, is about leading ourselves. And in fact, to be a great leader of people, we first have to be a great leader of ourselves. And so in today's session, we're going to talk about both. Now, within the leadership space, you could say that there are 2 types of people, leaders and victims. Now, a leader takes full responsibility, and they do that because their goals are stronger than their excuses. And a leader also makes decisions very quickly and firmly, and they rarely change those decisions, if at all. Now, they're able to do that because they know themselves well. They have an innate awareness, if you like, of which way to go. And they trust and they follow their intuition. I'll talk a bit more about that later on. Now, these are just a couple of typical leadership characteristics. And a lot of my coaching is based on the principles from Napoleon Hill's book called Think and Grow Rich. And we'll cover some of those leadership principles later in the session. So watch out for the exercise that we're going to do to start elevating some of those characteristics for you as a leader. Now, before we go further into leading others, it's important to understand how to lead ourselves. So ask yourself this question: how good are you at leading yourself? And there really are a few key factors that come into play when you want to become a great leader of yourself. And also bear in mind that what I'm going to discuss applies to every individual person. So these may be the things that your team members are also struggling with. And by understanding these aspects better for you, you can then help your team member to become more effective too. Now, I'm going to cover just a few of them because there are so many. So I'm going to talk about discipline and procrastination, confidence, and how to be an intelligent follower. Now, when you say to yourself that you're going to do something, do you then tend to actually do it? How disciplined are you? Discipline, we could describe as the ability to give yourself a command and to then follow it. And many of us are not too good at that. Well, we might say that we are going to do something and then we don't. And it's especially when it comes to doing something for ourselves, like taking time out or working on a passion project or starting that hobby or setting ourselves a worthy goal and then taking progressive, consistent action towards it. It just never really seems to be the right time, does it? Now, in my coaching, we call this the knowing doing gap. You know you should be doing something, but you're not. Or you know you shouldn't be doing something, but you still do it. An example of that could be that, say you'd like to get fit and have a healthier diet. So you know that you need to get your ass to the gym, even set your alarm, snooze, and you're not going. You'll go tomorrow. Or you decided that you were going to eat healthier food, but now there's a chocolate cake on offer, and you know you shouldn't eat it, but you still do. So you know these things won't get you the results that you want, but you're still doing them. Now, this is actually for a large part to do with habits. 95% of what we do is habitual. We're on autopilot most of our days, really doing things without conscious thought. Now, we have habitual way of physically doing things, but also habitual ways of thinking, of feeling, acting and interacting, dealing with people in situations and so on. Now, to close the gap, we need to make a committed decision and start thinking and acting in accordance with what we want, with our goal. We've got to become the person we'd be with our goal achieved. So you've got to change your thinking. Now, my last masterclass was all about that. So if you're interested in finding out more, check that one out. Now, lack of discipline is one of the reasons that we might procrastinate, and we all procrastinate. And procrastination is interesting, isn't it? We all do it from time to time. And sometimes we procrastinate on things that are actually really important to us. Now, procrastination comes from indecision, from not making a committed decision to do something. But indecision is a secondary cause of procrastination. Indecision to take action is caused either by lack of confidence, in most cases, or because we just can't be bothered. It's something that needs to be done and we don't enjoy doing it and we keep putting it off. So that last one is quite easy to solve and to get past. So here's a tip for that. Plan the shitty job or jobs in your calendar. And then once they're in your calendar, you can forget about them until it's time to do them. Now, in fact, right now, think of one job that you've been putting off and pick a date to do it. Do it now, pick the date now and write it down. Because unless you plan it, you'll keep thinking about it. It's taking up lots of brain space and you'll be putting yourself on a downer really because you know what has to be done and you're not doing it. Now, if there are several shitty things to do, plan a shit day. Pick a day in the next couple of weeks and plan those shitty jobs in. And then at the end of that day, plan something nice for yourself, a reward if you like. And just imagine how much brain space that will free up. By the way, if you want to know more about time and activity management, I have a great online course that will sort your life out. So just message me if you want to find out more about that. Now, let's get back to that first reason I mentioned for procrastination, which was indecision caused by lack of confidence, which is, if you like, simple to resolve, but is not necessarily easy. To be a great leader of ourselves and others, we have to be confident. We have to have confidence in our abilities. Now, we procrastinate because at a subconscious level, we don't believe we can do it. We don't believe that it's possible. On a conscious level, we do, and we tell ourselves we can do it, but our actions, or maybe non-actions, actually tell a very, very different story. Now, a leader is committed to their purpose, their vision, and to their goals. And there's a massive difference between being committed and being interested. If you're interested, you'll do what is convenient. But if you are committed, you'll do whatever it takes. So to commit to something properly, we have to, first of all, really want it. And then we have to have a certain level of confidence and belief. So then what is confidence? Well, simply put, you could say that confidence is knowing that you know. Take the Wright brothers. They were confident that they could create a contraption that would fly. Nearly everybody thought that they were certifiable, but they believed it and they did it. And as soon as they'd done it, no matter what anybody else said, they knew that they could do it. And now look at the world. We can fly wherever we want to. Or maybe think of a tightrope walker. They're confident that they can walk across the rope between two buildings. If they weren't confident, they wouldn't do it. Now, you also are confident in many, many areas and about many things in your life. You're confident that you can walk across a room. You're confident that you can make a cup of tea. You're confident that you can drive your car. And confidence is cultivated. It comes from understanding and from knowing ourselves. And it comes from believing in ourselves, believing in the world and our abilities, and from understanding that we can learn something new if we choose to. So how then do you build confidence? Well, we can really only build confidence through experience. So if you are lacking confidence in a certain area, the only way to get confidence is to do it. You've got to start believing that what you want is possible and that you are able to do it. Now, the great news is that if you can think it, you can be it, you can do it, and you can have it. If the idea comes up for you, it is possible, absolutely possible for you to achieve it, because otherwise that idea would not have entered your head. So if you feel a lack of confidence, really you're just missing a piece of information. So lead yourself to go and find out about it. Maybe study it, practice it. And then before you know it, you will have developed the confidence to step out and do it. For instance, if you were going on a skydive, you'd want to know about your parachute. And the more you knew about the parachute, the more confident you'd be about your skydive. Now, what I'd like you to consider is that a belief is just a thought that you keep thinking. It's just a story that you keep telling yourself. And one of the first exercises I do with my clients is to get them to set their goal and then write down all of their limiting beliefs about it. And then we turn them into empowering beliefs. What would the person with your goal achieved believe about themselves and the world around them? As an example, if you're a salesperson and you believe it's difficult to attract clients, then guess what? It's difficult for you to attract clients. A successful salesperson, though, does not believe that. They believe it's easy and fun to attract clients. And as soon as you start believing that, it will be that way for you too. Or if you're maybe a leader of people and you believe it's difficult to lead people, guess what? For you, it will be difficult to lead people. If, however, you believed it was easy and fun to lead people, you would experience it to be easy and fun. Even if the same issues and problems came up, because of your belief about it, it's easy and it's fun, you will handle it in a very, very different way. And so you won't experience it as being difficult. Every action that we take causes a reaction. And this is what we would call the law of laws, the law of cause and effect. So by you acting from empowering rather than limiting beliefs, you get a different result. You need to be honest with yourself here. What are the reasons that you're giving yourself for not taking that action, for procrastinating? What are your beliefs? Write them down and then explore them, and then change those limiting beliefs to empowering beliefs. So the last topic on leading yourself, before we get into leadership of others, is that to be a great leader, you must first be an intelligent follower. Who do you follow? Who do you aspire to be like? Remember, authentically you in your way. Who do you ask advice from? Who do you take mentorship from? You've got to make sure it's someone whose personality traits and characteristics you would want to emulate. Make sure that it's someone who's achieving what you want to achieve, because after all, they are the ones that know how to do it. You can learn from them and you can find out that missing piece of information that's going to build your confidence in the possibilities that are out there and in yourself. I always say this to my clients: you wouldn't take fashion advice from a vagabond on the street, would you? And if you had a toothache, you wouldn't go to a car mechanic. If you wanted to be a millionaire, your next door neighbor who's on benefits does not know how to do that. So only ever ask the experts. Only ever take advice from someone who is living what you want to live. Lead yourself to be an intelligent follower. Now, isn't it funny how we do take on board what people are saying? And really, people who, when you look at the way that they're living their lives, don't actually have a clue about what it is that we want to achieve. So let's think about a person you believe is a great leader of themselves. And then think of ways that you can connect with them. What can you do to incorporate some of their traits into your personality? Now, earlier I mentioned that to be a great leader of yourself and others, you have to know and understand yourself. So it's super important that you continue with self-development and discovery and get yourself a mentor. All great leaders have a coach or a mentor to guide them and to help them think outside of their box. Now, unfortunately, most of us have been programmed to fit in. We are taught to conform. And my mentor, Bob Proctor, always used to quote that the opposite of courage is not cowardice, but it's conformity. And it really does take guts and courage to be authentically you, no matter what. It takes really a level of vulnerability and sometimes a bit of a thick skin. It takes confidence to be authentically you. You really cannot lead others successfully if you are not able to lead yourself successfully. So let's explore leading others. And we've talked about some typical leadership qualities already. And as I said earlier, a lot of my elite coaching program is based on the principles from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Love that book, where he mentions a number of characteristics that are really essential to being an exceptional leader. So I thought we'll go through them, talk a little bit about them, and then I have a little exercise for you to do after that. So the first one he mentions is a great leader has to have unwavering courage. It really does take courage to step outside the box, to come up with a vision and to stick with it, and to get people to follow you happily on your journey. Many a time, and certainly in the beginning, there's only you who can see your vision. So you've got to be able to stick with it. Now, also, did you know that many, many leaders suffer from the imposter syndrome? You'd be amazed how many of my clients who are senior executives and directors in big global corporations feel like this when we start working together. But step by step, they step out. They feel the fear and they do it anyway. So if you want some help with this, do reach out. Happy to help. The second one he mentions is self-control. You have to be able to control yourself. You have to be able to be in control of yourself, to be able to lead yourself, and to be able to respond rather than react. A great leader keeps a cool head under all circumstances. Now you are the leader, so people look to you to lead them through obstacles. Have you heard of the law of polarity? The law of polarity dictates that everything has an equal opposite. There's no left without right, no up without down, no hot without cold. There's no bad without any good, and there's no positive without negative. So that also means that there cannot be a problem without there also being a solution. And a true leader teaches themselves to look for the opportunity in every adversity. And if your circumstances are not how you want them to be, if they're not conducive to achieving your vision, then you have got to go and look for the circumstances or create the circumstances that will serve you. Napoleon Bonaparte used to say, I focus only on the objective, the obstacles must give way. So here's a really simple example. I want to print off a poem for a friend and I realize I've run out of paper. So I could say, oh, well, I can't print it off. There's no paper. Never mind. I can't give her the poem. Or I could say, oh, I'm out of paper. I'll go to the shop and buy some, or I'll order some from Amazon. And then I can print it off and then I can give it to my friend. And it's the same with everything else. You lead yourself and you find or you change the circumstances that you need to achieve your vision. There was, in fact, a really great example this morning. I got up early, very early, to finish prepping this masterclass, and my computer crashed, completely dead as a dodo. My vision was to do this masterclass with you and to add value for you. So I was not going to cancel it. I stayed calm, I started looking for solutions, and I found them. Here I am. Now, the third leadership characteristics Napoleon Hill mentions is a keen sense of justice. A leader has to be fair. As a great leader, we must make sure that we create an environment where we can thrive, and also as a leader of people, where our people can thrive. And then the fourth one is definitiveness of decision. There's that decision making again. Super, super, super important to be a great decision maker. A leader makes decisions quickly and firmly and very rarely changes them. And they're able to do that because they know themselves. They trust themselves and they follow their intuition. They have an innate awareness of where to go. I said that before. Now, moment, I want to imagine yourself as you are now, where you're at now. So let's call this your version, you version 1.0. Now you are who you are right now, living the life that you're living right now because of the decisions that you made or haven't made up to now, because of actions you took or didn't take up to now. You could say that you version 1.0 is old news. It's the result of everything that has gone before, both in your personal life and when we talk of goals and objectives at work. Now, imagine your goal, something that you want, a vision you have for yourself or for your team or for your company. So that could be you version 2.0. Now, the thing is that your intuition is already there. It's already at version 2.0, and it is guiding you towards you version 2.0. But your version 1.0 cannot understand it yet because you're not thinking like you version 2.0. So a great leader really grasps this and allows themselves to be guided by their intuition. And that is why they can make decisions quickly and firmly. Definiteness of plans. You as a leader will have a vision and you will create a plan to get there, obviously with the help of your team. Now, the plan might change, but the vision will not. And the plan might need adjusting because both you and your team are on the journey. You'll learn things and you'll discover better ways of doing things. So check and adjust regularly to ensure that you stay on the best, the quickest, and the most effective route to your goal. Number 6, the habit of doing more than getting paid for. If you're not willing to do more than you're getting paid for, you will never get paid for more than what you're doing. I love that, and it's something to really start thinking about. And this brings me to the law of compensation. Because leaders get compensated much better than followers. And this is based on that law of compensation. And that law dictates that your compensation is in direct relation to, first of all, the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there is in replacing you. Now, there will always be a need for what you do. Really, the only thing for you to focus on is the second one, your ability to do it. Because when you become an expert in your field, it becomes very difficult to replace you. And now it's a simple case of economics, right? Supply and demand. A pleasing personality. Who wants to follow someone who's miserable or nasty? Who wants to support their leader if they don't feel supported by their leader. And then we talked a little bit about this before, sympathy and understanding. You've got to support your team whilst you're holding on to the vision. So this may be about training or building confidence, anything they need to be supported. And the ninth one that he mentions is mastery of detail. So as a leader, we have to understand the detail. But as a leader, you are there to get things done, not to do them. So what a great leader will do is they will engage others to tap into their expertise if they don't have the expertise themselves. So who can you tap into? Who can you engage at work that is an expert? Because an expert will always do the job way better and quicker, and they will actually enjoy doing it. Number 10, willingness to assume full responsibility. This is so key. The buck stops with the leader. The leader is only as good as the weakest link in their team. Support your team members and develop them so that they can become a super, super strong link. And remember yourself, support yourself and develop yourself to be a strong link in the chain. I had an interesting conversation with one of my cousins the other week. His son wasn't doing too well at school and he challenged the teachers. And he basically asked them, well, who has failed here? My son or you as a teacher or a leader? Interesting question, right? If your people aren't performing, then who needs to do something about that? Now, I would say that a great leader would do something about that and cultivate an environment of efficiency and productiveness to help our people to overcome their own issues, their own problems, their own lack of skill and training. And then the last one Napoleon Hill mentions is cooperation. So important because we can't do it alone. There are 10 billion people in this world. If we were meant to do it alone, we would be on our own. We can't do anything alone. We are all in service to one another. Even for the most simple things like making a cup of tea or driving a car, we have to work in a spirit of cooperation. We need our colleagues and our leaders and our team members to deliver the vision and the goals for the company. We cannot do it on our own. Now, can you think of some more other leadership characteristics? So here's an exercise I would like you to do. Who are two people that you believe to be great leaders? Could be people you've worked with, for instance. Now, for the first person, write down 3 to 5 things that you believe made them a great leader. And then, for each of those characteristics, score yourself. Score yourself either you're great, you're okay, or things need improving. And then ask yourself, improving which characteristics would have the greatest impact on you becoming more of a great leader. And once you've clarified that, then identify actions you could take to move towards that. And who do you need help with this? So who could help you? Who could you intelligently follow to help you? And then plan those actions in your calendar and do the same thing for person 2. Immediately, you'll start to cultivate some of those characteristics for you, and immediately you'll feel better as a leader. Now, in my one-on-one coaching, after doing that exercise, we then dive into cultivating leadership in your team members and managing your own triggers that may cause you to default to non-productive leadership behavior. So before we finish, I'd like to quickly touch on change management, which of course is a big part of leadership. And remember, a great leader has a vision and gets their people to follow them happily on the journey to achieve it. People really don't mind change, but they don't like being changed. So it's super, super important that you know where you're going as a leader and that your people understand how they fit in with that and how they can add value. Every person wants to add value. It's important for us to be needed and to add value. Most resistance to change is because people don't understand it and they are worried about what it means for them personally. Will they still have a job? Will they be able to do the job they're being asked to do in the new world? So be authentic, be clear and be transparent about the reason for change, and then explain how each individual can continue to add that value. And then be clear on how you will support them. For instance, with training, maybe a promotion, another opportunity within your business. And even if they will lose their job, then help them to see that as an opportunity and fully support them through that process. Really, within any change environment, very, very early on, you must get your people's mindset on board. And corporate culture actually plays a massive part in that. So these two topics, change management and corporate culture, are big, big, big topics in themselves, right? So come and talk to me if you want to take a deeper dive into that. To finish off then with a little quote from Sam Walton. Outstanding leaders go out of their way to boost the self-esteem of their personnel. If people believe in themselves, it's amazing what they can accomplish. As an exceptional and authentic leader, we want to build not just our own, but our people's confidence. Over the years, a number of my clients have mentioned that their people keep asking them questions about things they really should know and really do know, and things they know how to do really themselves. So the reason that people keep coming to ask is due to habit, and remember, 95% of what we do is habitual. So the thing is that the team members got used to asking the boss, and the leader got used to answering the questions. Because a lot of the time, in the moment, it's just quicker for you to sort it out. But apart from it being habitual, it's also due to a lack of confidence on the part of your team member. So how can we solve that? Here's an idea, and it definitely works because my clients have applied it and it worked. Next time the person comes to ask a question or they need reassurance, ask them what solution they would suggest. Discuss that solution and get them to do it first, and then check with you afterwards. What will happen very quickly is that your team member will become used to you asking for a solution at the same time that they're bringing a problem to you. And what you'll then find is that they won't come as often, and they will start to get more and more confident in their own ability. Remember, as a leader, you get things done, you don't do them. So many leaders are operating at too low a level. What this also will help you to do is it will stop you to become a complaint bin. Lots of time is wasted by people complaining without coming up with a solution, and other people listening to those complaints. Nothing is achieved or accomplished by complaining only. So remember that we only gain confidence through experience, and the same goes for your team members. Create an environment where it's okay to make a mistake and then learn from it. That will enable your people to become way more creative. They'll feel comfortable and confident to come up with new ideas and try out new things, which ultimately will create growth for your business. And a wise person once said, most leaders want people to think highly of them. An exceptional leader gets people to think highly of themselves. Well, that's nearly it for today. Let's do a quick recap. To be an exceptional leader of others, you must be able to lead yourself first. To be a great leader, you must be an intelligent follower. Authentic means uniquely you. You are unique. Build the confidence to be you by getting to understand and know yourself better. This will also then help you make the right decisions quickly for yourself, for your team, and for your business. Build the confidence of your people by understanding them so that you can support them. And get them to come up with solutions rather than just bringing you a problem. A confident person is a creative and productive person. Stop being a complaint bin. You are responsible as a leader. You're only as good as the weakest link in your team, and you are responsible for the results your team are delivering. Have no more than 4, maximum 6 direct reports, and talk to them every week on a one-to-one for 15 minutes or longer. And cultivate an environment where you and your people can thrive. And become an expert at what you do. Become an expert at being a leader. A leader also needs to have a great attitude. And this is one of the biggest elements of exceptional leadership, our attitude. In my training, we call it the magic word. We've got to be able to respond rather than react. We've got to be the calm in the face of adversity. We've got to look for opportunities. Einstein said we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that created them. Identify and acknowledge a problem and then immediately become solution orientated. Every problem has a solution, and within each solution, you will actually find the next great opportunity. What is your attitude towards yourself? How do you talk to yourself? Are you supportive or are you critical? What's your attitude towards others? Are you supportive or are you critical? Do you empower or do you limit people? Are you allowing people to bug you? Here's a great exercise. I want you to think of someone who bugs you. And when you think about them, you'd normally have negative thoughts about them. And when you interact with them, you'd probably rather not. So here we go. Write down 6 things that are good about them. And it can be as simple as they've got nice eyes, or they wear nice shoes, or they're good at analytics, or they make a nice cup of coffee. Anything. And you might have to search for a while, but you will come up eventually with 6 things. And then every time you think of that person, acknowledge the negative thoughts and immediately, consciously guide your thoughts to those 6 positive things that you wrote down. Consistently do this, and before you know it, things will change. It's like magic. Only it isn't really. The reason it works is because now you're sending out a very different energy. And because of that, the person has to give you back a different, a better energy. So have a go at that and let me know what happens. As a leader, you are responsible for your 24 hours. As I said earlier on in the session, plan a shit day to free up some brain space. Always plan thinking time and step back from the day-to-day and create a vision. That's what leaders do. Plan your calendar. Everybody needs recovery time, especially leaders. And take control of your activities in the time that you have. You're responsible for your time. Get yourself a coach or a mentor to start flying even higher. And have fun every day. Make a point of having a good laugh every day. Be in control of the start of your day. Make your bed and do a gratitude journal, and then be in control of the end of your day. Do a gratitude journal. Make sure that you have a routine in the morning and a routine at bedtime. Even if it is just for 10, 15 minutes, you will then feel in control of your day, no matter what happens during that day. Well, that's it. And there is, of course, so much more to leadership. This is just a very tippy top of the iceberg. If you want to find out more about being an authentic leader, I'm offering everybody a free session with some one-on-one mentoring, and then we can find out if it would benefit you from to work together. So do feel free to message me or email me to arrange that call. What I do normally is I work with my clients for 6 months, one-on-one every week, and then they have daily study and application. Your life will change in the most amazing way, rapidly and permanently, I promise you. We actually spent 2 full weeks on leadership alone, and many more weeks on all of the topics that feed into it, like confidence, responsibility, attitude, setting goals, creating productive habits, and so on. I also offer blocks of coaching sessions for individuals and groups, and I run workshops with organizations on things like corporate culture, change management, time and activity management, vision and goals. So reach out if you want to explore those. I have some great spring deals on for my coaching, and I just recently launched the activity and time management course online. Total game changer. You won't regret investing in that one. Well, I think we're done. That went so quick. So be sure to do the leadership exercises and then implement the tips, and you will be amazed at how much you'll learn about yourself and how quickly you can become an even better, more confident, authentic, and exceptional leader of you and of others. It's the application of what you learn that will start to make the difference for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please reach out anytime. And I will see you very soon.